video that I think might help get you started with the applications of the derivative and velocity exercise. So this is the exercise for this week here. So you'll notice that in this particular example, we have V of t, which describes the volume in a cylindrical tank. Okay, and if you look at our table, you'll notice that we've got h and a plus h and dv dt, and really it can be a little tough to figure out exactly how to get started. The question here is, using the definition of a derivative, that's this thing, that limit, find the flow rates at t equal 3 minutes and t equal 30 minutes. Well, in order to do this, we're going to evaluate this limit as t or at time equal 3. So our issue here is this describes the volume, but I really don't know what the actual flow rate is at 3 because I don't know the derivative of this of v of t. Using this limit, I can find what the derivative is. So let me get you started and just kind of walk you through what we're looking at. In my limit problem, or my limit definition, you'll notice there are a couple of things. First, there's v of a plus h, okay? And then also you have v of a. Well, in our problem, the a value is going to be 3. And then if you notice here, h, what's happening to h is negative 0.1, negative 0.01, negative 0.001, and then on the other side here we have positive 0.01, 0.1, positive 0.01, 0.001, which really just means we're looking at times that are very, very close to 3 minutes. So 2.9 would be right here, and in this case h would be 0.1. 2.99, well, I guess I'm on the other side here. 2.99, sorry, that side would be here, and then 2.999 would be even closer to 3. And you'll notice that as we get closer to 3, the h value gets closer to 0.01, and then in this last little stretch here we have 0.001. So I've really set the table up for you so that you don't have to think much about what it is you're doing other than just plugging these values in, 2.9, 2.99. So you might say plugging them into what? Well, v of a in our problem is going to be what you get when you plug in 3 plus 100, okay? V of a plus h is going to be what we get when we plug in 2.9. Now that I can figure out where to put these things, 2.9, sorry here, so negative 10 times the square root of 2.9 plus 100. Once I figure these things out, I'm going to actually plug them into our limit expression right here. So the limit as h approaches 0 of this thing, okay? So now in this first table that we have, or the first column that we have here for our table, our h value is negative 0.1. But I need to know what to put in here for v of a plus h and v of a. So I'm going to take my calculator and I'm going to take the square root of 2.9. Just a minute to get my calculator going. All right, now I'm doing this on my phone. So the square root of 2.9, which I get to be 1.702. Let's see, I'll write that right up here, 1.77029. I'm going to multiply that by negative 10, and then subtract that number from 100. So the value I get for v of a plus h here is 82.97. Now, I probably want to carry that decimal place out a little bit more, so when I plug this in, 82.9706136. Okay. Next, I have to plug in 3 to find v of a. So I'm going to plug 3 in. I'm going to take the square root of 3 and multiply that by -10 and then subtract it from 100. And this time I get 82.6794,919. Okay. Now here's the thing that you want to make sure you do. This value is going to be the same for every table entry that you see here. Every one of these table entries, you're going to use the same thing for v of a. You're going to use that 82.6974919. Now I'm going to go through the calculations here. And again, it's helpful to do these calculations a couple of times just to make sure that you don't miss a decimal or type something in incorrectly. 82.6794919. The value that I get when I subtract those two things is 0.2911217, and I'm going to divide that by -0.1. So when I do that, divide it by -0.1, I get it's actually -2.911217. Now here's how you'll know that you're on the right track. This number that you wind up right here should be pretty close each time. The very last number that you get should be pretty close each time you do this. So I would want to go in and type this into that table right there for dv/dt. So that would be that -2.91 number. Okay. So that should get you started. You'll repeat that process for each of these table entries, and then just take a look at answering the questions down here. Question 1, 2, and 3. And this is kind of intuitive. You want to look to see what are those numbers getting close to. So follow that process there, and then let's see what you come up with to get your final answer. I hope this was helpful. If not, please give me some feedback so I can make the video better.